Let this be a lesson, folks. Just because there's very strong marketing doesn't always mean the game is going to sell well. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 anticipated games that bombed at retail. For this list, we'll be looking at games that had a lot of pre-release build-up, yet ended up selling poorly. Number 10. Aliens Colonial Marines.
Damn it! That puts us on the wrong side!
Despite a strong commercial start, a horrendous critical reception and widespread backlash to the marketing campaign meant Aliens Colonial Marines suffered a swift change in fortunes. Gearbox Software's shooter had an infamously messy development cycle that included pre-release gameplay footage that did not paint the most accurate picture of the final product. Once it became obvious that Colonial Marines was not the Aliens games that everyone had been waiting for, the FPS quickly lost its momentum. More than anything, the controversy attracted by Colonial Marines made it quite a costly investment for Gearbox and Sega.
Get back to operations! Go, Bella! Move your ass! Bella, run!
Number 9. The Order 1886. More often than not, publishers tend to be a bit tight-lipped about a game's commercial performance. However, a lot can be surmised after the fact. The Order 1886 was an exciting new PlayStation 4 IP that did a great job at showcasing the console's power and also established a universe with a lot of potential for expansion, even if the game itself was too light on content and gameplay sections.
Knights inbound! I need to reload!
Despite sales being described as steady by Ready at Dawn CEO, the Order 1886 evidently did not ship enough copies to justify Sony investing more into the IP, at least not during the PS4's lifespan. Number 8. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Sometimes there is no recovering from a bad first impression. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was the first entry in the series in more than half a decade, but most of the sequel's momentum came to a screeching halt when Capcom dropped some hideous trailers and news spread about changes made to the franchise's core mechanics. Despite the gameplay being almost universally praised, Infinite was criticized for its visuals and roster, two things crucial for bringing in casual players. Capcom's game had a limp launch and struggled to pick up any steam, dooming Infinite to financial mediocrity. Number 7. Star Fox Zero. As the first kind of new game in Nintendo's series in around a decade, Star Fox Zero had some hype surrounding it, even if it being associated with the Wii U did it no favors. Along with it garnering quite a mixed critical reception due to its forced gamepad implementation, Star Fox Zero had the worst sales debut in Japan out of the franchise's entire history, and also did not perform much better in the rest of the world.
No respect!
Perhaps the most telling sign that Star Fox Zero underperformed is the fact that Nintendo opted to port Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE Encore and Lego City Undercover to the Nintendo Switch before it. Number 6. Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two.
Hello, Mickey. Oswald. I am the spirit of Wasteland. 12 spirits, the qualities that define me, were split from me long ago, and now lie sleeping.
It seemed like this series could have gone somewhere. The first Epic Mickey game, led by industry legend Warren Spector and starring the famous Disney mascot, was a critical and commercial success despite being a Wii exclusive. Unfortunately, despite now being a multi-platform title, the same success couldn't follow over for the sequel. The game garnered very mixed reviews, mostly critical around the companion AI, and it only sold a quarter of the numbers the original title did. The failure of the title would also end up seeing its developer Junction Point Studios being shut down.
Good luck, honey bunny!
Number 5. Number 5. Death Stranding. 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 Number 5. Death Strand Directed by Hideo Kojima, starring Norman Reedus, and featuring babies as a central mechanic, Death Stranding screamed acquired taste from the moment it was announced. Even if the unique adventure game was never going to appeal to everyone, Death Stranding was still very much a AAA project that needed to pull big numbers to be a commercial success. While it did have a strong launch, Death Stranding had very little staying power in its following weeks and quickly fell off the best-selling charts.
Falling down, London Bridge is falling down.
Since then, it hasn't even come close to hitting the same numbers as other PS4 exclusives. Number 4. Shenmue.
That's Landy. What happened?
They almost hit one of my customers, so I gave them a piece of my mind.
Commercial success is relative, as Shenmue proves. Along with being one of the best-selling titles on the Dreamcast, Shenmue was also one of the most costly. Consequently, it ended up failing to get out of the red, a grave that only deepened once Shenmue 2 hit the market.
I heard you had a hard time.
Yeah.
Putting aside whether it has aged well, Shenmue was a groundbreaking title for its time and more than earned its reputation as a masterpiece. Influential as a game might be, all the critical praise in the world means nothing if not enough people are buying.
I've got a question for you.
I got nothing to say! Kiss off, twit!
Number 3. The Last Guardian. Just in case having to follow two gaming masterpieces was not hard enough, The Last Guardian went through a troubled development cycle that saw the game miss its initial release date by around 5 years. While the critical reception was mostly positive, The Last Guardian did not perform particularly well commercially and was only the 9th best-selling game on the PS4 during its debut month. Like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian was never expected to be a huge system seller, but its decade-spanning development cycle added some more pressure to the game. Number 2. Daikatana. In the same year Ion Storm released the innovative, beloved, and franchise-spawning Deus Ex, the studio also developed Daikatana, one of gaming's most notorious missteps. With Wolfenstein 3D and Doom's John Romero as lead designer, Daikatana seemed to be a surefire hit, a prediction that the infamously aggressive marketing campaign seemed to take for granted. An overly long development cycle, outdated visuals and gameplay, and a poor critical reception killed a lot of Daikatana's hype, which reportedly went on to sell extremely poorly. Daikatana was a train wreck on every front.
I'll be right there!
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few dishonorable mentions. Haze.
Just an animal!
Yeah, I heard you. How far are we from the site?
Not far. Push up. We'll see you there.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Mighty Number 9.
Oh, and look at this. There's all these combo moves you can do. Then you can do combos on combos to rack up your score. And I know you like that combo on combo action.
Want more video game content? Check out our gaming channel Mojo Plays and discover games and ideas you never knew existed. With more lists, breakdowns, and our latest series, Arcade Roulette.
Justin and John are in!
Oh.
Hey, is that Porky Pig? There's a lot of things being ripped off in this game.
Number 1. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Considering it was made in less than 2 months, the fact that E.T. the Extraterrestrial sold reportedly more than 1 million copies sounds like a pretty decent return. Unfortunately for the entire video game market at the time, Atari overestimated the game's commercial potential by a few million cartridges.
I'm not as excited just to find some Atari cartridges, but just to see that something was here that belonged to Atari.
I came out to see history in the making.
Combined with its unflattering critical reception, E.T. the Extraterrestrial was nothing short of a disaster and played a significant role in 1983's video game crash. E.T. helped send Atari Inc. into a downward spiral, and it never saw the same levels of success ever again.
This game was done in 5 weeks. There was no time for tuning, there was no time for that, so a lot of people didn't like the way it came out.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.